Hello everybody, it's me, remember, the SM owner. So this is a slightly different video, not particularly long one. God, it's echoey in here. It's really just, not a special, but kind of something's happened with the SM and I got excited and happy and I thought I'll do a video on it because I was a bit low on content. So what's happened is, I don't know if you noticed, I have an SM, kind of slightly obsessed with it. I've always been into the history of any car I own. Any car I've got, I love going back through, digging through who used to own it, where did it live, where did it come from, where was it registered. I get properly hyper-focused on it. And the problem with this car is that there's not a lot of information. The history of it wasn't really, it was a kind of, if I could find history on it, it's a bonus. The most important thing is, well, having an SM. But I did find some stuff, and inside the car, this is one of the things I found, which I've since laminated because I'm sad. It's this, which doesn't mean anything. The very first video I did, I think I mentioned that. Save the clock tower. It's not. It's not. It's the Veterans Memorial Civic and Convention Centre celebrating 5 years in a gala performance. Saturday, October 21st, 1989, 8 PM. In, doesn't actually say because it's broken off, but basically it's in Lima, Ohio. Also, the other giveaway that it was from Ohio was I didn't know much more than that. There's not a huge amount of information out there, surprisingly, and I've been going on Google, white Citroen SM, Ohio, white Citroen Maserati, Ohio, white Citroen Maserati, Lima, any combination I can find, on and on and on and on and on. And to be honest, the most amount of information that I found about the car was actually due to a mate who, when I told him I had an SM, which he knew was a lifetime ambition, he went on to Facebook and he befriended a group. He went into a Lima Memories group, I think it was, Lima, Ohio Memories group, and basically put a picture of the car up, and he had people come up and say they recognised it. That car was on the corner of Metcalf Street or something like that. It was just like, it was amazing. All these people on the other side of the world. Well, not the other side of the world. I mean, you can't have sides. It's a sphere. Anyway, yeah, all these people sort of remembering the car. One person was like, I think I went in that car. It was awesome, right? And I got very, very happy at all that. It fulfilled some needs. Now, the problem I've had is that I have managed to piece some pieces together. So, yeah, I watched I produced 3 videos tracing the history of the car. And I've there are some big open gaps. And I've been trying desperately to fill in those gaps. I know that it was built in December 1970. I knew that it was built in December 1972 because there was a plate on the car saying that it was built in December 1972. It was built in Paris. I know this. It was, I don't know where it was first registered, but there weren't a huge amount of Citroen dealerships in America, but funnily enough, because it is an American spec SM. Most likely the Cleveland area. I believe I think there was a Citroen dealer there that was also a Rolls-Royce dealer, because they both had some suspension similarities at one point. Maybe that's what it was, but I knew that it came from there. I knew that there was a chance it had come from Cleveland. I knew that a place called Duddy's Used Cars in Lima had the car, I don't think late 70s, but I think early 80s. I think that all the dates I have is everything from 1984 to 1989. I've got an invoice for a battery that was in there somewhere, which of course I've taken out and laminated and put in a velvet lined box. I think it was 1989. It went from Duddy's. It went to a guy called Miner, who in video 2 we spoke to. I actually rang the guy who used to own and drive this car. And it was in a barn that they owned, or a garage or something, and his wife did crafts or something like that, or art, and she wanted the garage space back. So he gave it to a friend called Bruce. Now, I haven't got dates for this, but it would be, I'm guessing, early 90s. Very early 90s. But this is just from my kind of investigative work that I've done so far. that's as far as I know. Bruce said that he took it to Brims. Now, Brims was an auto imports specialist in Kenton, Ohio, which is not far from Lima. And he took it there with the intention of them trying to get it running, because he went to get the car from Miner, who was his friend, and it didn't run. So he, I think, recovered it to Brims, and of course they Brims imports. He thought it was a Citroen. Let's take it there, because if anyone's going to know around here, they will. Now, he said the engine was seized. Very nervy. I've since discovered that it isn't seized, but it doesn't turn over. And I'm hoping that's electrical. Really hoping that's electrical. He took it to Brims. And I say, Brims has a workshop and sales division in Kenton, Ohio. And they said, it's finished, mate. Like, it will cost too much to repair it. So they gave him next to nothing for it, like scrap value. He assumed that the engine would be taken out and the car would be crashed and he'd never see or hear of it again. So he was kind of surprised when I messaged him on Facebook a little while ago saying, "I bought your old car." What actually happened was, well, what I've assumed happened, actually. I couldn't be sure of it. In fact, I can't actually be 100% sure of it now, but I'm now 98% sure, whereas before I was kind of like 60, 70% sure. I believe what actually happened is he took it to Brims, and they went, no, lots of teeth sucking, and then they took it to their other establishment, because just outside Kenton, Ohio, is a big triangular shaped, for some reason, it's because it's between junctions, breakage yard. Basically, the one in Kenton is the workshop, sales, etc., and out of Kenton, just out of town, is the salvage yard. So I had put two and two together and thought, well, I reckon this was in the salvage yard. And it would have been, unfortunately, no one remembers any exact dates, but I think it would have been early 90s. I think it would have been between then and 2018. The reason I think it would have been up to 2018 is because in 2018 I have the certificate of title copy and subsequent Nova declaration, meaning the car was actually sold from someone in Ohio, from Brims, because it's got their name on it, in 2018, and it was sold to someone in the UK who completed the Nova on it, which is the declaration of an imported good or something like that, or imported vehicle, and whether you're going to pay tax on it and things like that. And that was all dated around that time. So I knew that it had come over here around that time, and then eventually I did actually speak to someone. In video 3, I spoke to a motorbike specialist in UPnDOWner, I think that's how you say it. Although they weren't particularly chatty about it, confirmed, yeah, I bought the car and it came over in a crate, in a container. They bought the car from the place in America that was selling it. Brims, of course, they're a motorbike specialist. This place was a motorbike sales and service place in UPnDOWner, so it all kind of, everything lined up, everything. But I didn't know what happened in that gap. And I still don't know exactly what happened in that gap between early 90s and 2018. And I have forever been going on the internet, Google, trying to find some kind of evidence, some kind of link to the story. And I've not been able to find anything. I've seen so many white automatic 3-litre SMs in American spec, US spec. And I think, oh, I've seen them on Google before. I've seen them on eBay. Is that mine? And it never has been. 090 EBH, as this car was registered. If you can find anything on that online, crack on. That's not this channel, obviously. But if you can find anything online, I'd be very interested to hear. Because I can't. Not a sausage. Except, I went on the internet and I found this. Now, that is a picture from Google Earth. Yeah, you're probably familiar with Google Earth. Well, there are two things. I'll give you a very quick rundown of what I've been doing here. At the risk of teaching people to suck eggs, there are two different types of, well, stalking places on Google. There is Google Maps, and there is Google Earth, or Google Earth Pro specifically. And the reason why that's important is because they do different things. Google Maps is the online live Google Maps thing which you can zoom over the top, and everything's in kind of like slightly skewed 3D view now. And you can zoom in, you can go around places, and you've got street view. You can drag the little figure and dump it on a road and look at the surroundings, right? And you can go back in time. You can go back in time. You can go back in time, not infinitely, basically basically go back as far as they started taking pictures. But you can go back in time. The amount you can go back in time depends on where you're looking at. But yeah, the busier the place is, the more likely there's going to be different steps you can go to. And I am an absolute nerd. I do this all the time. I'm always looking to see roads that have changed, football stadiums that have changed, buildings that have changed, you name it. I'm an absolute geek. I know it. I just accept it. But on the street view side of it, you can go back in time. On the satellite image, you can't. And would you call me? You have Google Maps, which is an online thing which you can access on your phone or your PC or whatever. But you can also download a program called Google Earth Pro. And a Google Earth is what Google Maps originally was called, I think. I mean, I don't know the exact history of it, but I always remembered it as Google Earth. But Google Earth now is kind of, it's Google Earth, well, Pro, basically. It's a bigger, better version of Google Earth. And you have to actually download it. They call them apps now. It's an app for the PC, or whatever device you've got, that you download. And it is pretty good. It's pretty good. In fact, it even does the moon. You can go to the moon. I think you can go to Mars. You can zoom right out into space and flip the globe around and zoom back in again. Lots of fun is had with that. But the crucial thing with that program is that you can go back in time on satellite images. And I didn't know this. In fact, I think it was a customer I was speaking to on the phone when I got this thing who pointed that out. So I've known this for a while. This isn't new information. It won't be new information to a lot of you. I've known this for a while. I think as long as I've had this car, I've basically been going back in time and looking around this scrapyard, trying to find a white SM-shaped blob among a load of cars that are all running at the screen resolution like 25 pixels or something like that. It's a mess, right? But I've been looking round and round and round, and I've been going and searching high and low around this scrapyard and found nothing. Nothing at all. And I've been doing this for 3 years. And I keep looking at pictures of SMs from above, because I think I know how they look from the side, but perhaps they'll look different from above, I don't know. And I'm always trying, and the resolution isn't there, for example, to see that you've got the grille there on the bonnet, little things like that. You haven't got that level of detail. But what happened the other day is I went on Google Maps, and then I went on Google Earth, and I wound it back to 2018. And there is a picture of the scrapyard sometime in 2018. And I thought to myself, right, put your brain in for a minute. You know the car was sold in 2018. So there's no point looking out in the back of the scrapyard, because I was assuming this thing would be buried by a bush out the back somewhere. There's no point looking out there. It ain't going to be there, because if it's being sold in 2018, it would have been nearer the front. Assuming it hasn't already gone, been collected or whatever, it'll be near the front somewhere. And then, when I was looking at it again, I looked at it, I looked away, I looked back, I looked away. I kept coming back to this. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, that looks a bit like a white SM, doesn't it? And I thought, this is interesting. I had found a few other candidates in that scrapyard that looked kind of like a white SM from above, would look on a potato camera from taking out a window of a 747 or something. But this one actually, all the others I looked at, I think, I'd go around them and after a while I think, no, that doesn't make sense. Look, I've seen that. But this one stuck. This one does look like an SM. So having gone back through some of this Google Earth stuff and seen this potential car look like an SM in 2018, I wound the clock back to see if I could see something else. And I'm searching. And I do spot something around that kind of area. In 2015, does that look like an SM? Parked diagonally? It kind of does, doesn't it? So I zoom back Further, 2012. No SM there, where it was in 2015. But there is this round the corner. Is that this car? It's annoying because there's no way of knowing for sure, because that's as close as you can zoom in. And of course, even if you got closer, the resolution of the photo is just going to get worse and worse. So you're not necessarily going to learn anything. There's going to be a happy point in and out somewhere where you'll figure out what car it actually is. So then I thought, ooh, I wonder if there is some chance that if I was to now go back onto Google Maps and have a look and see from Street View whether you can see into the scrapyard from somewhere at any point along the road that goes outside, is there a chance you might get a snippet of a white SM? So I went back on Google Maps. Now, the dates don't align. There was no date outside, I think. In fact, I can't look on here because it's not actually turned on. It's just a prop. There were no dates that aligned. I don't think there was a 2018 date. I mean, it's not in the middle of nowhere, this place, but it is a bit of a nowhere road. So I imagine Google don't send their car down there very often to take pictures. So there weren't many dates to choose from, but there was one in 2015. That's quite close to 2014. If this was a difficult car to move, there is a chance it will be somewhere in this picture. But the problem is, I can't see into the yard. And I think, right, okay. And I go back to some of the other dates and I can't see anything. I'm getting a little dejected. I feel like I've got something. I feel like I've found something out, but not much. And then I went back onto Google on a Google Street View for 2014 and started travelling up and down the road a little bit. And all of a sudden, I discovered if you kind of move back or move forward, you can see through it. And all of a sudden, you move on again and you can't see through it anymore. So I thought, oh, okay, that's interesting. And then I saw this. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. That does look like this, doesn't it? This bit here. Now, I'm pretty sure that's this car. I think that is this car. On Google, in America, in Ohio, sitting in a scrapyard. And it is a bona fide scrapyard. And it looks like it should be in a scrapyard as well. It's hanging, falling to pieces. But I think that's this car. That's the first, because I've contacted this place, I've messaged them, I've emailed them, they don't respond. They're not interested. I don't guess they're not interested. I did contact one guy who used to work there on Facebook, and he said he didn't remember it. But yeah, I might, maybe I'll have go again. But I've found nothing in to date that this car was in that scrapyard other than some bits of paperwork to say it was there. But that, to me, is, well, from 2012 up until when it left, pretty much, because it's near the gate, ready to go there, 2018. There's images of it in the scrapyard. So where was it up to 2012? And from the 90s till then, who knows? It could have been round the back. It could have been in a container. It could have been on top of a container. It could have been anywhere, couldn't it? But that's the first imagery I've seen of this car that is not mine, apart from the for sale pictures that the guy I got it off took. That's the first imagery I've seen. So it proves that it was there. And I got very, very, very excited by that. I know I'm sad. I know this makes me a bit of a loser, but I don't care. And I think I found this car on Google. So yes, I'm going to go home happy with that knowledge. It doesn't affect your life in the slightest. I'm sorry that the video went on this long. Yeah. The next video, I'm going to work on it again. So just haven't had a chance.